Hey, what up everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you today. This is my first time I've been able to make a video hyping up this year's Survivor Series. And what I've been doing since the WWE Network came into play is basically just going into the archives and checking out the old shows and checking these out. Honestly, Survivor Series 1987, I thought it had a good place in my heart as, a great show where you could go back and watch all of your favorite superstars from back in the 80s. This card is packed head to toe. When you look at it, it's got 4 real long matches, but you honestly get to see just about any superstar from this era. So many legends, so many Hall of Famers. It is a good one. A little bit of a backstory. Basically, WWE was coming hot off of WrestleMania 3. Everybody can remember 93,000 fans packed into the Pontiac Silverdome up there in Detroit, seeing Hulk Hogan going up against Andre the Giant in the main event. And basically, Vince McMahon saw, hey, we did this many people filling up the Pontiac Silverdome. We sold this pay-per-view all around the world. Everybody wanted to see this. Let's make another pay-per-view. So basically, coming off of WrestleMania 3, they said November 26th, otherwise known as Thanksgiving night, we're going to put a show on pay-per-view. And it's just going to be a mega show that everybody's going to want to see. Once they're done sitting down and eating their Thanksgiving dinner, they're going to want to huddle around the television and watch TV. That's what they like you to think. But honestly, I think WWE, or WWF at the time, came up with this pay-per-view as a way to fight off the NWA, otherwise known as a lot of people, WCW at the time, was launching Starrcade, their big pay-per-view, which is going to be on television. Basically, you would think that this is going to be a wrestling fan's dream to sit down and watch the NWA pay-per-view, which was a little bit earlier in the day, and a WWF pay-per-view at the same time. So if you could get your family to jump in on this, which I think would honestly be a very hard thing. I could see myself hosting a Thanksgiving, and if I was in charge of it, telling everybody, hey, do what you gotta do, but at 5 o'clock, I'm turning on wrestling. I think a lot of my family would be hitting the door and leaving. I don't know. Let me know in the comment box down below. Would wrestling fly at your family's Thanksgiving? I'm sure there's a lot of families out there that watch these videos that wouldn't mind sitting down and watching wrestling, but I think a lot of people's families are like mine that would sort of roll their eyes and ask why we're not watching the last football game. But even more of a backstory on this, basically cable providers, they sort of had their mouth watering on this, having an NWA pay-per-view and a WWF pay-per-view. Their dream was to sit down, and their dream was to, have a combination pack. You can buy one show for this much, you can buy this show for this so much, or you can buy both shows for this much money. That's when Vince McMahon wagged his finger, and he said, no, that's not the way we're going to do this. Basically, you're going to show my show, or if you don't, you won't get our show and you won't get WrestleMania 4. I need to be exclusive on your pay-per-view channel, or that's going to be it. Basically, you're not going to show the NWA. You're just going to show Survivor Series. And if you do show the NWA, you're not going to get Survivor Series, which is going to be a big show. And we're not going to give you WrestleMania 4. Basically everybody bid on this, seeing that basically Hulk Hogan was one of the biggest wrestling stars that was out there, was going to be featured on this show. A lot of people were really into WWF at the time, which was the #1 company, NWA looking like they're number 2. Very few companies bid on this. Basically, if you were in the southern part of the United States, your Carolinas, your Georgias, more likely your Alabamas, basically those people, they went with the NWA because that was NWA country, Horseman country. Woo! Basically, and just about everybody else, except for the cable provider that Dave Meltzer had. For some reason, they went and went with the NWA show. That way, Dave always talks about it on the Wrestling Observer podcast, how he was able to catch both shows by leaving his house with him and his buddies, driving cross town to go into somebody else's house, and watching the Survivor Series main event, which, honestly, when he tells the story, is very funny because they ended up going to the house they weren't supposed to go to and just walked in. And because he knew one person that was in the house, they just stayed. It wasn't the house that he was invited in. But he talks about that story about every WrestleMania year. So if you haven't heard it yet, sign up for the podcast and get this. Now, when you build a Survivor Series team and you have your main event, I mean, you got to have your biggest players in there. They built an awesome team around Hulk Hogan, Don Morocco, Mr. Wonderful, Bam Bam Bigelow, and Ken Patera. All of these guys were the baby faces of the WWE. They were really believable as being out there as main eventers. Bam Bam Bigelow was basically the rookie of the year. One of the hot guys that was out there. Orndorff is sort of the guys that was sort of going babyface heel. His whole deal was basically that Rick Rude was brought into the Heenan family to sort of replace Orndorff. So Orndorff quit the Heenan family, that leaving him to go back babyface. Don Morocco, always one of these huge, big, beefy dudes. Basically, build a team around Andre the Giant. He brings in the biggest guys out there. King Kong Bundy, the one-man gang, Butch Reed, and then a guy that, should have been a main eventer in the WWF. He had a lot of spotlight around him in the Intercontinental title, but Rick Rude, you're getting to put him in a big spotlight. You get definitely big rubs for Bam Bam Bigelow and Rick Rude, making their rookie, pay-per-view performances for the WWF at the time. Very funny thing. You would think that this is going to come down to, honestly, Hulk Hogan winning this match and getting to do everything that he did, much like he won the Royal Rumble in '89 and in '90. But that's not the way things go. He gets to have his moment in the sun. But basically, King Kong Bundy and the one-man gang took Hogan on the outside, where he basically got counted out, leaving Bam Bam Bigelow to get back in the ring, and he had to go up against Andre the Giant, the one-man gang, and King Kong Bundy, and he was able to take out 2 of the 3, but when it came down to it, Andre the Giant hit the butterfly suplex on Bam Bam Bigelow, making him look like a huge star, being able to stand up against all these old guys. The second Andre the Giant got the pin, Hulk Hogan came down, trying to challenge Andre the Giant to a one-on-one fight. Basically, Andre took out, Hogan's doing the pose down. Jesse Ventura is calling Hogan an egomaniac. He doesn't even get the win, but he comes out and he still celebrates, thinking he won the whole big deal. Hogan was a big star, and it sort of made you want to see the next match because he didn't win.